Hey everyone, and welcome to the Xbox Ultimate channel. I'm Marchief, and today we're going to have a look at Elite Dangerous, as it's now available on the Xbox Game Pass. This is an absolutely spectacular game, graphically wise. I have this on the graphics mode in full 4K here, and HDR is also enabled. You can see that the graphics are absolutely stunning. Look at the ship here. This is the starter ship, the Sidewinder, and you can have a good look around. There's plenty of opportunities if you love your photo mode to get some awesome looking shots, and we'll see some nice space stations with this a little bit later. One of the great additions of this game, which made things a lot easier from when I transitioned from my PC, is the fact that we've got some auto docking abilities. This was really difficult in the early stages where you had to do this manually. Now once you've got your authorization for communications, you can just take off the accelerator and it will do this auto dock. You see that I started doing it manually, but I wasn't going to quite get there in time. So if I just take off the throttle, the auto dock takes over and it will now seamlessly dock for me. And it's actually quite nice watching this happen a lot of the time. One, that you can do some stuff on your ship, and two, it just does it perfectly every time, and sometimes you can't even see where the landing pad is when you come in, so it's really nice to watch it happen. Now there's so much to this game, I'm just going to touch on a few of the highlights. Obviously trading is a huge portion of this game, and you're going to be travelling between worlds quite a lot. When you're in this super cruise mode, sometimes pirates might try and get you out, and you kind of get this little mini game where you got to try and stay in this escape vector while you're in this super cruise mode. Controls are very hard. You kind of have to really steer around to try and get to this escape vector. Essentially, if I don't make this escape vector, I will be thrown into a combat situation, and because my ship here is one of the starter ships, I really don't want to be taking on any pirates. So you can see I managed to escape there, so I can now carry on to my destination. Now, universe-wise, I can't remember the exact figure, but there's something like 400 million stars in this game. So if you are an explorer, you are going to be exploring for a very long time. Every single one of those dots is one of those systems that you just saw me traveling through. So you can see this isn't even all of them, this is just a small chunk around the area that I am, going up through the vertical axes. So here's some of these spectacular docks. Obviously each one is a little bit different. Once you've done some trading and you've got up your missions, there's tons of missions to keep you busy here to get some cash, or you can do the good old commodities trading. You can go the bounty hunter route, which is really well paid, but you need a good ship to do it, and obviously you need to get really good at combat. So I'm going to sell this ship and get the kind of next upgrade up. More of a hauler class, but still a light fighter. So you can have a look at one of the other ships, and also some of the other ships available quite early on in this game. You can get some pretty hefty ships later on. But again, looking at the outside of this ship in dock, you can see how well balanced the graphics are. So let's have a look. So the Sidewinder is the one that we started with. The Eagle is the next class up. There's a little light fighter. But then we also have the Hauler and the Adder. So the Adder is the one that I'm going to purchase. But if you do want to go more the combat route, you have the Viper Mark II. And if you really want to go all out in combat, the Cobra Mark III. But that's a bit out of my price range right now. So I'm going to get the Adder so I can travel a little bit further towards one of my mission goals, and we can see that ship here. Again, the attention to detail in the cockpit and the outside of these ships is absolutely phenomenal, and this runs so well on the Series X in 4K. I was going to have a look at the performance mode, but I just didn't feel the need to. The graphics mode here, more than performance enough. And I didn't really see many frame stutters, the occasional one during the docking procedure, but most of the time I'm not looking at that, I'm looking at internal ship systems and other bits and pieces. And as I said earlier, you really will want to play about with the photo mode. If you look outside of the ship here, we get some fantastic looking scenes when you're exiting from stations. And you get those cool effects from the jets there as well. But as we look back at the station, it really does look quite spectacular. Each system has different stations. This is just one of the ports. There's so many different ship and building types in this game that you probably want to get a photo of them all if that's your thing. Otherwise, just having a look at the scale of things as you're leaving is absolutely awesome. Obviously, having that embedded with the share facilities in Xbox means that you can show everybody else at the touch of a button. It's also worth mentioning that this is cloud enabled. Although not the easiest game to play with a controller on a smaller screen, it does mean that if you have a time sensitive mission and you're kicked off your big screen, that you can dive in on mobile and complete it. The game does also look very good on mobile. That 720 resolution on a small screen is barely noticeable, although you don't have the option between the graphics and performance modes. Obviously there is so much more to this game, and combat wise I just didn't get into it this time as I was still building up to a fighter. But thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Xbox and Game Pass Ultimate, and we will see you next time.